Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of With Conviction, a story of hope, horror, and history. My name is Rain, my pronouns are she, her, and I am your GM for this adventure. With me are my heroes for this campaign. Why don't you all introduce yourselves?
Hi there, I'm Alice. I use she and they pronouns, and I play Desdemona Hartwood, who also uses she and they pronouns, and is a gothy, punky, magical girl with a heart of pink and some new wings. And she is a Rose Heart Guardian.
Hi, I'm Skylin. My pronouns are they and them, and I play Chris Whitlock, whose pronouns are she or any. Chris is our firebrand artillery, extremely sporty, magical, not a girl.
And I'm Rob. My pronouns are he, him. I play Eliza Hardwick, whose pronouns are she, her. Eliza is our fiery and very devoted, very intense magical girl. She is the stalwart soul warrior.
All right. The last we had left you all, the group was recovering from a previous fight in the dark of night. Hazel is in the hospital, and the rest of you have retreated to lick your wounds, decompress with those closest to you, and consider what you had been through. I think it's reasonable to assume that no one is in a rush to return to that portal.
We're not in any immediate danger from it beyond things getting into our world, right?
Essentially, yes. You aren't aware of any more things getting out, and you have the only way in. So,
Once that was established, Eliza set up a set of trail cams pointing at where the portal is, so that if something gets out without the sword, they'll know about it.
Well, in theory, it's not a portal in a fixed location. It's just the sword, right?
I thought it was the sword and the location.
Well, maybe we should test that.
it's not hard to test that. It does, in fact, anywhere in that general area. It doesn't always have to be in the brook. It also works in that general field and pasture area as well.
That's less useful then, but yeah, Eliza, despite her first inclination to go and deal with this right away, after seeing how hard this was on the rest of the group, does relent and take a step back, have us take some time.
Yeah, Chris is not particularly interested in going back immediately, especially given how this first week to 3 weeks really kind of messed with their schedule.
Yeah. The next couple of weeks pass in a blur. Classes, work, off time. One evening, Chris visits Eliza and teaches her some basic cooking skills. Another day, Des visits her art punk friends. There are ruffled egos and apologies to be made, but it's smoothed over. Chris begins getting back into her drag act, spending more time out east. Eliza, ever looking to keep sharp, starts a fencing club of her own. No official sanction, but she knows enough about how to keep it safe that there's no trouble. Things get tenser between Des and her mother. The Cold War continues in the Hartwood household. Every day, without fail, Eliza visits Hazel in the hospital for at least an hour, often more. Whenever she can, Chris visits as well, helping Hazel with whatever physical therapy she can manage. I'd like to give each of you an opportunity to add a scene to this montage. Please briefly describe one thing that you're doing over the course of the weeks that Hazel is in recovery.
So, Hazel does come out of the hospital after a couple weeks, yeah?
Yes.
In the intervening time between the original injury and the day that she gets out of the hospital, Chris takes a moment to, during that physical therapy, she takes a moment to ask Hazel how she wants to handle being reintroduced to the team. And she'll follow whatever Hazel wants, but she also encourages Hazel to consider, like, maybe a movie night would be a good way to come back.
Yeah, I think Hazel is tentative but agrees to that.
All right. Our listeners might remember that at the end of last episode, we all picked up experience points. Not at the end of it, but during last episode, we all picked up experience points. And in Eliza's case, she's spending it on a new combat ability. So we get a shot of her in the field out behind the old factory where the punks hang out. And she's just kind of taking her frustrations out on some hapless, like, metallic barrels and such. And at one point during this, she's making a dash at one and accidentally transforms without realizing she has, stabs her sword into it, and then, running on instinct, she actually kicks it. And during the kick, one of her leg warmers transforms on its own and combines with her shoe into the sort of metallic boot that goes most of the way up her calf, and a rocket thruster on the back of it ignites. This kick completes, and she sends the barrel flying about 30 feet. And then, breathing heavily, she detransforms. Eliza has picked up the ability Storm, which allows her to, if her conviction is at least 3, after fighting or swaying an enemy, move them into an adjacent zone.
Very nice.
Can I pitch one more ad?
Sure.
One of those Saturday nights, Chris texts Eliza and Desdemona and probably Faith and Jesse and says, "Hey, do you want to come dancing?"
Excellent.
Eliza definitely wants to come.
I think Des would agree, but I don't think she would really dance.
We get just a little bit of Eliza talking to Desdemona and saying, okay, all you need to do is bounce your knees up and down, and with your hands, do like reloading animations from video games. That's all it is.
Yeah, so Chris takes whoever it is that said yes up to a queer bar that has an 18+ night so that they can dance for a few hours before it gets too late, even for a Saturday.
I don't think either Jesse or Faith are able to make it that night.
Does Faith come to that punk concert that Eliza invited her to?
I think she ends up making the time for that, yeah.
Okay.
So, time passes, and eventually Hazel is discharged from the hospital. Still sore, still moving very gingerly, but she's out, and she starts settling back into the life that she was fighting to get back. She moves back into the old room where all of the stuff has now returned. There are some long conversations with a movie playing in the background that isn't really heated the night that she comes back. And I think the next morning is where we will pick up. Eliza, you have a knock on your door.
Oh boy. What time is this?
What time does Eliza normally wake up?
5 a.m.
Okay, so this is well into your day by now.
Yeah. Breakfast restaurant.
Yeah, this is somewhere around 9 a.m.
Okay. Eliza just goes to answer the door. She has a feeling she knows what this is going to be, so she doesn't answer the door or open the door all the way. She just kind of cracks it open a few inches.
There's a man standing outside, tall, hard lines on his face, and he looks down at you and says, "Excuse me, are you Eliza Hardwick?
Yes?
I'm Detective Becker. Could we talk?"
All right, give me just a moment to crate the cat and make myself decent.
Of course.
She closes the door again, locks it just in case he gets any ideas. And then we get this quick little series of shots where Eliza does in fact crate the cat, and we see that Nisa is target trained. After that, she heads into her bedroom, where currently she's in like blue pajama pants and a tank top. Her first step is to grab the 3 swords that she still hasn't given back, plus the cavalry swords that they used to open the gray. Grabs all of those in her arms and transforms. So she does that and then quickly changes into normal clothes and heads into the back into the living room. She's wearing like just standard non-slashed up black jeans and t-shirt. And she opens the door and steps out onto the porch where she can talk to this guy.
He looks at the door. You prefer to have the conversation inside?
No, sir, you're not welcome in my home.
I see. Well, I had some questions for you regarding those swords that you had returned to the museum.
Did you end up finding out who stole them?
We're still working on that. I wanted to know where exactly you found them.
I gave the address, remember?
Yeah, you did. And when we looked there, we didn't find anything.
Because I collected the swords. There was nothing else to find.
Funny thing that, because we found some kids just down the road who said that you found the swords there instead.
Which address did I give you?
He gives the fake address that you had given.
Oh, okay. I must have remembered it wrong because, I mean, you can get how that would be easy to mix up. 25 versus 35. I didn't like take notes or anything.
Certainly. Regardless, I wanted to ask, what prompted you to go about returning those swords?
Well, they obviously didn't belong sitting on a factory floor.
Certainly, most people would have just taken it and walked away, though.
Yeah, and that would be stealing. Well, that would be possession of stolen property if I didn't make every effort to give them back to where they belong.
He smiles. Well, I commend your civic virtue. You didn't have any signs of them being used in an untoward manner?
Mm, no. They were getting kind of dusty. It looked like that somebody had just dumped them on the floor and left.
Interesting. I have a couple other questions.
Mm-hmm.
About Chris Whitlock.
Eliza's eyes narrow.
How long have you known her?
I've known him for about 3 weeks now.
Oh, did I get that wrong? He makes a note in his book. And what kind of sense do you get about him?
He seems like a decent person.
A bit of a daredevil?
I wouldn't say that.
You'd be the first.
Well, I haven't known them very long.
Makes another note. Okay. And in the time that you've known them, have they shown any kind of proclivity for wanting to get into anything dangerous or inadvisable?
No,
All right. And Desdemona Hartwood, have you known them for about the same amount of time?
roughly, yes.
Okay. What kind of a sense do you get from them?
Their mom really sucks.
Well, lawyer. But
No, I don't have any problem with lawyers. Lawyers are great.
he raises an eyebrow.
Lawyers are the people who keep you doing your job right. Eliza crosses her arms and leans against the wall.
That is generally the idea, yes. But in regards to Desdemona herself, what do you make of her character?
Well, I haven't seen her character sheet. Wait, no. Eliza, still arms crossed, leaning against the wall, says, "She seems fine.
A little shy?
You wouldn't be asking me if you didn't already have an opinion there."
Well, certainly, but I want to ask people who know her a little bit better. Is it so bad to do due diligence?
She's just kind of staring him down.
Go ahead and roll deception.
Oh boy. What's the deception here? I'm not lying about anything.
You have lied your ass off this whole time.
Well, I rolled a 7.
All right. He looks at you and goes, "Ma'am, this is gonna be easier if we can talk openly and frankly."
Well, officer, I don't want to accidentally incriminate myself for anything, so I'm not going to be answering any of your questions further unless you place me under arrest.
I see. Well, I'll wrap it up then. Those swords that you've been returning, are there any more?
No.
And would you allow me to check to make sure?
Do you have a warrant?
I do. I don't want to use it, but I can if I have to.
That sounds like you don't have a warrant then.
He folds his notebook, pockets it, and then just gives you a long look. All right. He pulls out the warrant, hands it to you. It is a duly signed warrant to search your premises for a given list of swords.
Eliza pulls out her phone and takes a picture of the warrant.
Mm-hmm. There's a copy there for you.
Takes her copy of it.
He waits patiently, looks at the door.
I am noting that I'm doing this under duress. You do not have my permission, but I am legally obligated. She unlocks her door and then, with her phone still out, starts recording video.
He begins going through, and okay. The first thing I want to ask you is, where is the whiteboard?
The whiteboard is going to be in the second bedroom now that Hazel isn't staying in it.
Okay. He goes in there. He does see that and kind of gives you a look of what the hell, but keeps going as it is not, in fact, swords. His search is remarkably thorough. He is not tearing anything apart. He is searching politely and respectfully.
He does see Eliza's magical girl outfit is hung up in her closet, and immediately adjacent to it is a Chandra Nalar cosplay.
Excellent. But there is one other thing that he takes note, because remind me, you did have a pair of fencing swords on the wall, did you not?
The fencing foils were in the living room last we saw. However, yeah, I don't think they have any storage at the fencing club yet. They're presumably still in the living room.
Yeah, the fencing club sounds very much like the sort of thing that's just some people meeting up.
Yeah. If he goes in, in Eliza's main bedroom, he will see her magical sword hanging in its brackets on the wall.
Indeed. And he takes note of those, compares them against the photos that he has, and observes that these are not on the list
Wait, how does he have photos of the missing swords?
because the people who filed police complaints gave them to him.
Oh. And didn't check Reddit.
Some of them, probably. Regardless, he notes that those are not the missing swords, and looks at you and goes, "You enjoy fencing?"
I started up a club.
Oh,
Yeah, we're doing it over at the community college.
okay. All right. Well, thank you for your cooperation, and I will let you have the rest of the day. And he steps out.
Eliza closes the door, locks it, and then just kind of slumps against the door, going, and I think she texts the Pancake Squad group chat and just says, Des, Chris, a cop just asked me about you.
Des texts back, sick, a cab.
Chris's text is just the open face emoji.
He was looking for the missing swords. He knew about the factory crew.
Maybe we talk about this over dinner at your place?
That's a good idea. And she goes to uncrate Nisa.
Chris, about a minute after that text comes in, another text comes in from Aiden that is a couple of sirens and a cop emote.
Chris texts back, do I need to come home?
Don't.
Okay, period. I'll be in class.
About an hour later, that text is followed up with an elaboration. Cops just raided the house looking for swords? Question mark, exclamation mark, question mark, question mark, question mark.
Did they have a warrant? Question mark? Question mark? Question mark? Question mark.
Yes.
Cool. I think at this point, Chris actually just calls Aiden. She's out of class. She's got a couple hours before anything next.
Chris, what the hell are you doing?
I was in class? Oh, you mean...
Out of respect for you, I'm going to assume that's a joke.
Sorry. Me and some new friends saw some friends of friends, and we saw a pile of swords, and one of the new friends was trying to return them. We'd kind of, I don't know, they didn't belong there.
Is that how Hazel ended up in the hospital?
Aiden, I think that's her story to tell.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I should probably be there when Hazel tells that story, because then I can fill in whatever details are needed.
Okay.
Aiden, I'm genuinely really sorry. You've kind of had the brunt of all this weird shit in the last month.
Yeah. I'll put the warrant in the drawer with the lease.
Okay. Maybe there's time for Hazel to come tell that story over lunch? I've got a bit of a break now.
I'll ask.
Hey, I'm on my way home. I'll see you in a bit. And she hangs up.
Okay, so do you go straight to that lunch or do you talk to the others about it? What are you doing?
Chris is headed home. It's a little bit of a walk. She texts the Pancake Squad and says, "Cops raided my house for swords? ? Do you want to come over for lunch? ?
We get like a shot of Eliza, who is now laying on her couch. We get a brief shot of a text she sent to Caddy that says, "You will not believe the month I've had." And then she swaps to the other text thread and just says, "Yeah, I'll be there."
Des texts back, yeah, should I head over now?
Yes, please.
So we see all of you sitting around a table with Hazel and Aiden. The others seem to be out. Presumably they have classes or are busy.
Okay, so the cops came by and raided the house for swords.
They checked my place too.
They didn't raid my place, but they did come by and ask me a bunch of questions. I think we mentioned this already.
Chris shakes her head.
They were trying to find out more information about the goop of monster, that first thing we fought, Chris.
Aiden looks over and the what?
We're still not sure what it was, but we were attacked by some kind of thing. We've been colloquially calling it goop monster.
I have it saved in my files as the Long Boy.
Long boy. Also a good name for it.
I guess we're just telling people now. Okay.
Chris, hangs her head.
Look, if you need me to not talk about it, makes a zipping motion across their lips.
This part, not really a secret. I don't think it is. Does looks around at the rest of the table. We kind of got, well, okay. I got beat up pretty bad. It wasn't something I thought we were hiding. We literally went to the police over this.
Yeah, you sure did.
Oh, is that why the cops are involved?
Yeah.
Aiden, I know I said this is Hazel's story. This is kind of all of our story. And at this point, you should probably just know that magic's real.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Aiden blinks and is like, I mean, if you don't want to tell me, you can just say you don't want to tell me.
Eliza holds a ball of fire in her hand.
Thank you. Des points at it.
Oh. Aiden reaches out to poke it.
It's fire. It's hot.
Ow. Oh. Okay.
Don't let them. Oh, God.
How else will they learn?
Okay. So, Chris stands up and steps back and makes a little bit of space for herself in the kitchen and goes through her full transformation sequence.
Oh.
Just to drive the point home.
Yeah, all three of us can do that.
I see.
Unfortunately.
Aiden looks over at Hazel. Hazel shakes her head.
Hazel is a large part of the reason that I'm involved in this in the first place. And Chris kind of like smiles at Hazel. There was a day that she told me that she was seeing monsters and stuff and had some suspicions, and I didn't listen. And then the next day we had a practice that was all sorts of wonky. And then shortly after, all of us kind of forgot that she existed. And it's been a hell of a month just trying to get her back. If I may, can I use this as Chris's light shift trigger of speaking a blunt truth?
Sure.
Eliza puts the ball of fire away before she accidentally triggers the smoke alarm.
Oh yeah, Chris takes a second to return to her normal self.
Aiden appears to be chewing this over.
So we've been fighting monsters that come from I don't know where, really. Many of which had stolen different parts of Hazel's self.
Well, I mean, it's not really true that they come from nowhere. We know where they're coming from. We just need to actually do something about that.
Chris looks at Hazel and says, "Yeah, but Eliza's had these things come from other places and she's seen other stuff like this, so sure, we have a source here, but it's not like it's, I don't know, maybe there's other rivers of gross monsters?"
Can't just be rivers, because some of them were in LA, and there's not really any rivers there. But here's the thing. These monsters, they emerge. They attack people. They steal portions of their identity, like they did with Hazel. And the three of us, we are empowered by a magic from the time before time. We are this world's and apparently Winchester's appointed defenders. And now you're in on the secret.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that.
You can keep the secret?
Yep.
Oh, good. But, Chris, you were right. They deserve to know after cops.
Yeah, I thought so. I don't know how much of the rest of the team should know.
Are you three going to be able to keep this secret from them, or do we just need to bring everyone in on it?
I mean, we're a team, right? Aiden looks at Chris.
Chris nods, but her lips are sort of pursed.
Des leans over to Eliza and is like, "You don't have like Men in Black kind of mind wipey thing, do you?"
I love that so much, but no.
Okay, then yes. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Hey GM, you want to roll read a heart for me?
Okay.
This can be either Hazel or Aiden, as you choose.
I think at the moment it makes sense for it to be Aiden, and the result was an 8.
Aiden.
Yeah. Give it, Rob!
That was like that. That was instant. That was nice.
Yeah, so Aiden can see deep uncertainty on Chris's face. Like, this is a decision she doesn't know how to make.
I think that actually shakes Aiden a bit.
What do you think, Aiden? Yes, we're a team. Uh,
I mean, we've got to trust each other, right?
With that 8, I'll say that Aiden sees that that small sentence of theirs braces Chris, and she seems more certain. Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Everybody deserves to know if they want to know.
I mean, I think they'll probably want to know.
Chris nods.
You'd want to know if you didn't, right? And Eliza actually looks over at Hazel.
Hazel's face screws up in an uncertain expression and she looks away.
All right, well, we'll call a team meeting, and we'll ask, and those who want to know can know.
Yeah. You said the cops talked to you too? I'm sorry, I've forgotten your name.
Me? Eliza.
Right. Yeah, I'll remember that. Eliza.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did check out my house. They had a warrant and everything.
Yeah, do you remember what they asked you?
Mm, he started off all polite, like you know how cops do, and he was asking about Chris and Dez and like their character, he said. And then he asked me stuff about where I had found the swords that I returned to the museum. And yeah.
Okay. They frowned for a moment and yeah, he kind of asked me the same thing and asked if you were the kind of person to get into fights, and they look over at Chris. Which until just now I didn't think was the case.
Well, hun, if I am one of Earth's chosen defenders.
Yeah, of course the cops would come after you.
Mm-hmm.
Chris gives a little bit of a goofy grin. And then her face falls. I don't like dealing with the cop stuff. If we're gonna do this whole saving the world thing, I'd rather do it without them on my back.
I'm not burning down the precinct.
We're not?
As much fun as that would be, would draw a bit more attention than I want.
Okay, but look, hear me out. With your powers, I think it'd be really easy.
It would, but then I would have to burn down like the Virginia National Guard and the United States government. And I get it. This sounds great and all, but it would also be a lot of work, and we've kind of got saving the world to deal with.
It also cut into like our movie night time and junk.
And
Okay.
we would probably have to reallocate the pancakes budget. It's a whole thing.
Okay,
We have a
you're right.
pancakes budget?
So
Yeah, it's crucial.
it is necessary.
Man, why didn't anyone tell me this?
Do you have magic powers?
Fuck you.
Yeah, you earned that one, hot stuff.
I really did.
Okay, so we think they're gonna keep coming after us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we need a game plan. Hot stuff, sugar, quick shot, sweets, you in? Let's figure this out.
Okay,
Eliza leans over to Des and asks, "Are you sugar or sweets?"
I don't know. I'm
Okay,
fine with it either way.
sounds good.
Okay, so like let's do top level first. Killing bad, right?
Usually.
Okay.
Unless it's monsters.
Unless it's monsters. Monsters, not people. That I think we can all agree. Okay, so we need a way to uh get rid of a cop without getting more cops involved.
Now, what we need is a reason for them to give up on investigating us.
They need to find absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm. Now, I have hidden the swords somewhere where they'll never find them.
That being
I transformed while holding them. She grins.
Oh.
Chris Chris laughs and like grabs Eliza's face and just kisses her on the forehead. Damn good thinking, girl.
There is a sizzling sound.
Oh, that's so well done. Okay.
Okay, so that's cool, but you're not. Wait, are you transformed like 100% of the time?
I haven't fully detransformed since I met you.
This has, many things to think about. Regardless, um, so there's no chance of like accidentally detransforming and a whole bunch of swords fall out of your pants.
Now, if I could figure out how to launch them by detransforming, that would be cool. But I don't think so, because I mean, remember the night we saved Hazel and I exploded?
Yeah, yeah, I do
Mm,
remember.
Yeah.
I didn't detransform, but my battle dress got dismissed. So I guess the swords would come back if that happens again. Well,
Hmm.
don't let me explode.
Don't make me carry you out of there again.
Can we put it on the whiteboard? No letting Eliza explode.
Oh yeah, the cop did see my whiteboard, but I'm pretty sure he figured I was just working on like an alternate history novel or something.
That's fair. It's not like the cop would believe in magic. So, uh,
Bringing it back
hmm.
to game plan making.
Right. Yes.
Okay. I said they need to find nothing.
hmm
Is it possible for them to find so much that they couldn't possibly track it down? That they would just give up?
What are you thinking?
Shock and awe?
Like, what? Bring more monsters to the cops or something?
I'd love to see them try to deal with it. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm. Okay, only problem with that plan is we would still then have to deal with it because unless our small town police department has like a tank or something, I don't think they're gonna be much use
Yeah.
against these things.
Okay, so if we want them to find nothing, what do we have to cover?
Did they not already find nothing?
Yeah, and as they might have already burned out the judge's patience for dealing with us, and so we've got one cop. His name was Detective Becker. That's the one who talked to me.
That's the one that talked to me too.
That's not the ones we talked to at the diner, right?
Didn't look like the same guy. So, thing is that Decker has already gotten a pair of warrants signed and not found anything. So his bosses probably aren't going to be too happy with him in the first place. What if we cause trouble for them?
I thought we weren't going to burn it down.
No, we don't burn it down. We talk to our local politicians.
Oh, we tell them to burn it down.
Maybe. But
Yeah.
we're in separate city council districts. Each of us can talk to a different city councilor, complain about these
What?
point. Hmm?
Winchester's all one thing, hun.
Uh-huh.
It is?
Aiden just gives you this tired look. Right, LA.
Oh, right. Yeah,
I suppose I should tell you all this now. My mom is on the Malibu City Council.
that sounds exhausting.
Yeah. But anyway, point is, we can complain to the politicians who are in charge of the cops that they basically wasted their time and money and our time searching our houses and found nothing. That might get the cops who are in charge of Becker to tell him to lay off? Best idea I've got right now.
Chris pulls out a notebook and opens it to a blank page. And on the top, she jots down bullet point number 1, go over their heads. And she makes space for a few other bullet points.
I may actually know a guy who could help us with this, and I don't even have to roll for it.
No, you don't.
I love the, and I don't even have to roll for it in Dez's voice.
Exactly. Exactly. My dad talks to politicians like constantly. Admittedly, I don't listen, but that's what he does when he's not like doing odd jobs.
I thought he worked at a pastry farm.
No, okay. We did
The
talk
fact
about
that you
this.
think that pastries come from farms.
Well, where do they come from, Chris?
They're made of plants.
Exactly.
So
You
Eliza is a big city girl. Got it.
you mill the
Yeah.
flour into pastries.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Planning?
Right.
Please, I would like a game plan before I have to go back to class.
No. I think we can try maybe talking to my dad. Um,
Mm.
I mean, we could technically talk to my mom too, but I'd rather ask my dad first.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's one game plan. Coach always tells us to have a secondary thing, just in case the first thing goes wonky, which it usually does. Secondary plan, let's go.
We invite Becker out to the field where the portal is, open it up and toss him in, and close it behind him.
That sounds an awful lot like Cop Goes Missing headlines and 3 nerds who can transform being the main suspects.
Hey,
Aiden?
don't write that one down.
She is not writing that down. The pen is currently on the table.
Okay, I mean,
Aiden? Hazel? Any thoughts?
Hazel purses her lips. I don't know. I'm worried about that portal. I feel like we need to clean up whatever that is before we deal with the cops.
I'm not disagreeing with you there. I think we need to get on that.
Yeah, Hazel, yeah, I worry that we can't handle the portal effectively if we have the cops on our backs this whole time.
I think we might have to do both at once. Des, if your dad can get started on dealing with the cops, then I think we should focus on the portal.
I think I can talk to him about that, and if for some reason that doesn't help us at all, maybe our fallback plan will be talking to my mom.
I shouldn't be the one talking to your mom, I think. I'm pretty sure she hates me.
It's okay, I hate her too. I mean, she's my mom or whatever.
What does she think of Chris?
I don't know. I haven't asked her.
Well, if the cops came asking about me
Oh,
to
yeah.
your house, I don't know, was she there?
She was there. She was sort of, she wasn't exactly acting as my lawyer or anything, but she was not acting as a lawyer while she was there, um, which I appreciate. But she didn't help me out at all. So, like I said, last resort.
Okay, so we have 1 and 1/2 plans, both of which involve talking to people to get the cops to let this go. I don't like that we only have one plan. And I don't like that it revolves around politicians and having to trust politicians to do something for us.
I mean, is there anything we can do with these magic powers? Have sort of just gotten us in trouble? Is there any way we can use it to our advantage?
Is there a way we can kind of give them what they want? Which is the swords back?
So here's the problem. I don't think this is about the swords. I think this is about the sucking chest wound. And she looks at Hazel.
Hazel kind of looks very grim at that.
I'm pretty sure that they're investigating us not because of possession of stolen property or burglary, but because they're trying to tie us to Hazel showing up in the hospital.
But they were investigating us before we got Hazel back, right?
Yeah, but I think Hazel's thing would have shifted their priorities.
I don't know.
Probably a lot more serious about it after someone got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Someone getting hurt was the whole beginning of this anyway.
Yeah, but they don't know that.
Did someone else get hurt?
When we called the cops, it was because I got beat to hell.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And they don't know about that.
They do know about that. We told them.
Okay. So it's not just one occasion. So this is a pattern now. Or close to one.
Mm-hmm.
So, is there a way that we can show them what's causing the hurt with. Because it's honestly not us. Not directly, anyway.
Well, you can't prove a negative. Best I can say is don't get hurt, which is not going to be easy unless we lay low for a while.
Right.
I mean, I don't think we can distract them from us without revealing some other part of the secret to them, is the problem.
Yeah. I guess one terrible option would be demonstrating to a cop that magic is real. It seems counterintuitive to copying.
That seems like a really bad idea. What cop do you know who wouldn't just immediately respond to something they don't understand with shooting?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
and
for
that's
sure.
what ends up with us in a lab getting experimented on.
And that.
Also fair. I
So we return to the idea of introducing them to the monsters that are the actual source of this problem.
Now, I was thinking that, and like, the problem I have is that these monsters don't just go out and rampage wildly. They're cunning, and if we unleash one in town, it might not go for cops, it'll go for innocent people. And Eliza gestures at Hazel.
So we make sure the cop's the only one there.
what if we open the portal thingy long enough for one thing to come through and then immediately call the cops?
I think that's a really bad idea. We saw what happened last time we cracked that thing open.
I agree. It's not going to go well because best case scenario, the cops come and fight it, and maybe they win, maybe it kills a bunch of them. Worst case scenario, it goes secret and starts preying on people again, like the others did.
So, my suggestion is we go deal with this portal. We try to get rid of whatever monsters are on the other side, make sure it doesn't hurt anyone, and then we just lay low for a while. If nothing else happens, they'll close this case.
It's not a bad idea.
It's not the worst idea, but what happens if one of us gets hurt and has to go to the hospital or something?
That's why only the three of us come through the portal. We heal faster than others.
As much as I hate to say it, that might. And Hazel just grits her teeth for a moment. That might be it.
Girl
Just,
in the chair?
maybe it'll be time for me to do some reading and see what I can find. And didn't you say you were doing something about fencing?
Yeah, I started up a fencing club.
You mind if I join that?
Ooh, 100%. Anybody else want to go to sword fighting?
You're asking me if I want to play another sport, hon. And Chris is grinning massively.
Aiden raises a hand. I think your plate's already full as it is, Chris.
What? I mean, you've got volleyball. I think you do some track and field. You've got. There was one other sport you mentioned.
Aiden starts going down a list of things, ticking them off on their fingers.
That list is volleyball, softball, not track and field, drag, volunteering at the parks, and now this.
Saving the world. Well, at least Winchester.
Hazel, I agree with you. I know you're the one who got hurt last time, and we seem to be. She points to the three who can transform. We seem to be able to take the punishment without needing a hospital trip. So
Yeah, I know.
yeah,
If something gets out, I'll deal. I guess I'll figure out something to deal with it. But yeah, I can't go with you.
yeah. I don't want you hurt again.
I know. She stands up anyway, so I'm gonna, I don't know, go to the library or something. She grabs her messenger bag and walks out.
Chris runs after her and gives her a hug.
She hugs back.
Eliza leans over to Aiden. You've got to tell me, is anyone dating anyone in this whole volleyball house?
Not that I know of.
Yeah.
Do people not hug people where you're from? Right, you're from LA. No,
Mhm.
question answered.
Yeah. Huh?
Um,
How you doing with all this, Aiden?
I'm still not sure if I believe you.
Fire in hand.
Yeah, I saw that.
Sweets, do I need to be a hawk again?
A what?
Oh, so Aiden is sweets.
Just like meets Eliza's eyes and is like nodding. Like, oh,
Did you miss the whole wings?
Yeah, no, I was a little occupied with the rest of, and they kind of gesture up and down.
Chris transforms again. Aiden's in on it now. Why not?
Right. Okay. Bird. Got it.
Yeah, I get wings too. That mine's a jetpack. Eliza grins.
A jet. And you're sure it's magic and not aliens?
Eliza steps up from the table next to Chris, transforms with the flash of fire, and her jetpack unfolds.
Okay, sure. And what are you? Are you a vampire? Gestures to Des.
Oh, that would be so cool.
oh man, I wish I was a vampire. Um, but I do gotta tell you, Eliza and
Mhm.
Chris, um, I think I have wings now too.
Really?
Yeah, I'll show you guys later.
Later. Does Aiden not get to see?
I don't know them super well, and
Oh,
I I mean
Aiden raises their hands. It's fine.
the
It's
pink.
fine. I get it. I know how it is.
I'm sorry, Aiden. It's so pink.
Oh,
I mean, I'm a super cool vampire magical girl. Like you said,
I'm gonna believe that instead. That's cooler.
that's what I'm saying.
All right. Does anyone else want to do anything in this scene, or
I think it ends there, I'm guessing.
so? With the conversation sort of petering out after that, the scene wraps up, and Des, are you planning on talking to your dad about this situation? Are you planning to go ahead with that plan to enlist him?
I think so. I think we'll at least try that route. As a group, are we separating for now, or are we
If Des asked, Eliza would come with to talk to her dad.
Chris
Hmm.
has to go back to class.
Okay. I think Des will head back home by herself to try and get her dad alone to talk to him about this. Do you want me to just quickly explain, or do you want me to play it out?
Do you have a preference?
Mm, not really. I can do it either way.
I think you find him in his home office. When you get to the door, he seems to be on a call with somebody, and he looks up at you, holds up a hand, finishes his conversation, and then clicks a button and looks up at you. Hey, kiddo, what's up?
Hey, Dad. This is kind of a weird ask. My friends and I know you probably heard that the cops came by at some point and some asked me some questions. Um, we didn't do anything, so I wanted to know if there was some way you could like help us out. Maybe you could talk to, I don't know, my friends mentioned like a city councilman or like a local politician. I don't know exactly what you would do. I we want help getting out of this because we didn't do anything wrong.
I believe you. Well, I think your mom probably knows some criminal lawyers. Can ask her.
Just kind of barely suppresses like wincing. Yeah, I know. I just didn't want to ask her. I was hoping maybe we could start with the non-lawyer option.
Right. Okay. I mean, I know some folks on the city council. I'll see what I can do. That's kind of a. Why don't you talk me through the situation, and I'll see what kind of argument I can make to them. Tell me what happened.
You, okay, sorry, I know you didn't like this bit. You know, we, I got hurt recently. Um, when I, when I'm,
He grimaces. Yeah.
we're still not sure exactly what attacked us, but that's how I got hurt, and they, the cops think we, the cops think Chris hurt me, and that's not what happened. We,
Okay.
Chris is my friend. I
He smiles. I trust your judgment.
Des smiles at this comment from her dad. Thanks.
So, generally, if you're gonna get the city council involved, you're gonna have to give them something to care about. Is there something that I can give them?
I don't know, Dad. Something that would make them care. We're all no. What kind of thing would the city council care about?
For something like this, start with morally outrageous misconduct. Something like that. That would be a good starting point.
Um,
Or if you can prove that they've been taking money from someone to go after you.
hmm. We are all a protected class, and they're harassing a protected class?
He smiles. Okay. I guess I can see what I can do with that.
Um, sorry. I appreciate you trying to help me with this. Um, I know this isn't exactly uh, father-daughter bonding,
I'll take it.
but but yeah, my both of my friends have had their places searched.
Oh,
Everyone's kind of
I can see why you're upset.
yeah. We're kind of scared and honestly a little tired of being harassed.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me know what you can find, and I'll see what I can do.
Thanks, Dad. I really appreciate it.
He smiles. Anything for you, kiddo. And I think that's a good place for us to wrap up. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening, and thank you to my players. And we'll see you all next time. Have a good night. Thank you again for joining us on this adventure. With Conviction is a production of Silver Maiden Games. If you would like to play Conviction, check out the game at silvermaidengames.itch.io. Music for the intro and outro of this podcast is A Soul with Conviction by Doom Vega, who you can find on Bandcamp. Music within the episodes is by Rachel Rose Mitchell, who you can find on Bandcamp and Spotify. All rights to the music are retained by their original artist. Production and editing are done by myself and the With Conviction cast. Thank you all. This would not be what it is without you. You can find this podcast on Spotify and YouTube or silvermaidengames.wordpress.com. You can also find more about the game, podcast, and ways to contact us at silvermaidengames.wordpress.com.